Hello everybody, this is Maniac4Bricks, and I'm here today with a mock kinda tutorial video. It's basically, I'm just showing you what this mock was, and then I'll show you how I put it together, but not and completely step by step. This is my version of a Lego tender to be used with power functions and RC track. Now, from my knowledge of trains, I am no train expert at all. Most of my knowledge comes from such classic videotapes like I Wanna Be an Train Engineer, or several tapes of Thomas and Friends, and, well, just watching other YouTubers like Bricksart, Trainsart, Jang Bricks. You get the idea. I'm not really 100% train hobby or, expert. But at least know that a tender is something you use mostly with locomotives as a fuel source. Something to provide energy and power for the train to move because it runs on coal. And this would be technically like the coal car to carry most of that. So what more suitable way to fit the power functions into a train object than a tender like this? This is actually designed to be the smallest that I can build a train car to fit a battery box and an IR receiver right next to each other, no hanging over. And a little bit of the wire, but I'll get to that in just a moment. I do not know for a fact if tenders have 3 sets of wheels or just 2 sets. I've seen only a couple of wooden Thomas Railway, tender cars that only have 2. Again, my knowledge is not there, but at least it represents what I wanted to in my own way. So this is actually very simple to build. And if you have some train pieces, this is actually a good start to it. So you have, obviously, the wheels, axle, and everything like that, magnet to put together. Only a couple of plates in between to hold it at the right height. Then we have this center area that is actually attached through one of these 2x2 turntable plates. That'll just simply sit right in here, and likewise goes for the other side. I only made it a little bit longer because I had the extra wheels, but I think it works pretty well. And also might help with the weight distribution in the car, since this side is heavier than this side. Now, on top of that, we have the rough area of 6x12 made out of plates. So this black area that you see underneath there is made out of a 4x12 plate and a 2x12 plate adjacent to each other and is attached mostly above. So that gives the right dimensions for the rest of this. Then the sides basically just made out of a whole bunch of bricks and plates. For this layout, I actually have this designed to lay up with the Hogwarts Express from 2001. There will be a separate video as to how I converted that into power functions. Most of it has to do with this, but it went through a couple trials and errors, so you get to see the process of how I got to this point in that video. Right above there, of that plate layer, you can actually see a little bit of modified plates with those sliding elements on the sides. That's basically to line up with some of these ladders, so it gives it a little bit of a realistic feel for, where to step up and then climb up the rest of the way. Obviously not going all the way up the cart, but enough to get the job done. And these do not want to sit in here nicely, but I'll make it work. It's pretty much the same on both sides when it comes to that, so no problem there. Now, how about the center? How does that work for fitting these units in here? And I also decorate a little bit on top of here just to add like a little bit of coal pieces, but still reach the button and all the controls. I thought the spider would be a nice little addition in there as well, even though I'm not a fan of spiders. But anywho, how did I fit these pieces in here? The wire is actually snuck underneath each of these units, but it's not crushing them. There's actually a little bit of space in there, so it's not going to be in the way of anything. And how I did that, well, I'll just take this part out. Not that part, but maybe I'll just take this part out and show you. So, there's a couple of small 1x2 plates that I aligned on the sides here and did likewise on the battery box end. There is a small gap underneath the battery box where the wire can feed through. So that way, no matter which way you're facing this train on the track, it'll keep the wire very tight, very nice and packed in, so it doesn't get in the way of how the thing looks. I had it once before, like after I designed this, it was actually hanging off the other side that wouldn't be seen too much on camera, but it was still going to turn up at some point. And I thought, well, if there's just enough room underneath, I could tuck this in, and it worked very nicely. So I'll give you a look at that from the other side with the battery box. Now, it was a little bit more tricky with the battery box. I had to raise it by 2 plate layers, so you can see one here, and then one a little bit under there. So that way, it was just enough room to fit this all in and it wouldn't be taking apart the plates underneath. Because like I said, it's a 2x12 and a 4x12. Needed to have some way of connecting those together, and if I just had those 1x2 plates, it wouldn't have held as well. So, now that we got that taken care of, let's bring this over to the track where I can attach it and see how well it runs around. One thing that was important in the design of the tender is to be sure that it was actually able to go around curves. I tried it once before where it didn't have any turntables underneath and was actually too wide or too long for the curve itself. So as you can see here, it makes it around just very nicely because of those turntables. Easy fix underneath for any car that you have attached to a Lego train. I'm sure this is basic knowledge for most people. As far as the wires and everything goes, it's a little bit, convoluted here, but it's pretty easy to follow and, easy to hook up everything and unhook it if necessary. My conductor sig fig seems to be okay with it. Just add him here nicely for the video. And to give you a look again at this compared to the rest, this is the Hogwarts Express from 2001 Harry Potter, the set number 5972, and I tried to capture the color scheme and lining of it pretty closely to the rest of the model. I do like how everything went together. I did have to modify some other parts of this, so look forward to another video about more of the modifications to install this on a RC track. So now, let's give it a roll. One thing I have noticed only recently is that the train motor isn't completely attached onto the bottom of the Hogwarts Express. It's taking a little bit more time around here. You might even notice that on this side, it peeks out a little bit from the track. I honestly can't figure out why at the moment. It might have to do with just the underside and how it's attached, but I don't think the tender is too big a problem with it. And it still has enough roll to it that it can get around the track nice and easy. I've only seen it once or twice. It actually popped off the track, but we're doing pretty well so far. So, that's something otherwise I can fix later on. No big deal. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and look forward to the tutorial on how to add a 9-volt track or 9-volt train like the Hogwarts Express to your RC layout. Again, I'm no train expert by any means, but I was happy to come up with a solution that worked for me and might be helpful for some other people. We'll see you next time with more LEGO videos, and let me know in the comments below if you liked the tender design that I came up with. What's also good about it is if I change out the tender to another train, it's easy to pop off just the sides of it, keep the interior, and everything works nicely afterwards. So, see you next time with more LEGO videos.